several try to help with some of the training at the office. They've been doing a lot of active shooter classes. Staying over the hours of the need. You need 20 by post every year. I'm pretty sure most everybody gets there by the end of the year, if not more than that. Community relations, very important. And I agree that it needs to be worked on every day. I will say that one of the greatest classes I ever went to was a culturally oriented police officer. And that's what COPS stand for. A lot of people don't know that, now you know. Culturally oriented policing. One of the greatest I ever went to. And I think that everybody needs to get a little more culturally oriented. We got a lot of people with different beliefs and different backgrounds. And you need to be compassionate. Have humility when you're dealing with things sometimes. And understand that you're not always right. You need to back off a minute and understand that you're working with somebody. That's important training. So get back to your question. One of the biggest reasons that we probably are not training as hard as we can right now is because of being undermanned. People are working long hours and complaining about coming into training, but it is mandatory that you get 20 hours in a year. If I feel like it's sufficient, we can always do better. Always do better. Training's paramount. Again, I'll go back to safety and training. It's one of the most important things in law enforcement. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Brown, this next question is for you. Are you concerned about gangs growing in Bullitt County? If so, what are the best methods to deal with that issue? And is the sheriff's office trained and equipped to handle gang issues? Let me add to that as well. What are your thoughts on the crime suppression unit?
Crime suppression unit is a very important unit that we have in the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office. They work very hard at what they do. They also work along with our school resource officers and detecting a lot of the gang activities going on. And believe it or not, we do have gangs in Bullitt County. And that's probably one of the greatest things we did along with the Board of Commissioners and Board of Education was introduce school resource officers. They detect a lot of what we're talking about. Granted, they can head off problems and let our law enforcement go out on the street. This is what we dealt with today. We handled it in the principal's office. Here's the markings or signs or whatever activity is going on in school. But also out in the community. It's definitely there. Crime suppression unit has been on top of it. They're familiar with it. And also our deputies on the road. I see several of them out here tonight. They're familiar with it. They know what's going on. Basically, you got a college town, Love Georgia Southern. Basically, people come inside or come outside into the campus. It's not students. It may be a friend of a student. We've got good students out there, but we also have some friends that come in from other areas, and they do cause problems. There's some drug sales going on, and also gang activity. The best way to combat that is to work closely with the Georgia Southern Police Department, Statesboro Police Department, and all our agencies in the county to keep that down and keep each other informed. And also talk to the public, because with more eyes and ears in the public, ladies and gentlemen, I've only got one say right here. I'm definitely going to listen to you. I've said that all along. Open door policy. If you have any information on that, you would come in and tell me too. But understand, we do know what's there. I feel like that we're staying on top of it, but it is a battle that is fought every day with our other officers inside of this county. Everybody working together. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Howard, a question to you. Are you concerned about gangs growing in Bullitt County? If so, what are the best methods to deal with that issue? And is the sheriff's office trained and equipped to handle gang issues? And also, what are your thoughts on the crime suppression unit?
Community involvement, the resource officers in the school, making friends with the students, getting their trust, getting the community to trust you, transparency, hide behind locked doors. The crime suppression team, 2015 stats was over 100 firearm seized. They had 500 plus felony arrests, 96% conviction rate, 96%. The feds don't have that, but the cases has come through. Can't do without them. They work not only around the college, but they work the county. They interact with the task force from the other counties. They network. They learn what's going on. They learn the new trends. They they get training on the new trends, they work with the GBI, the gang activity, we got it. Like it or not, you got to keep abreast of what's going on. You look at Chatham County, how out of control it is. We don't want Bullock County to get out of control. So you got to keep our officers trained in this and informed, and they got to let the community know what's going on. It's like I say, it's not secret squirrel stuff. They, let the public know if you got a problem so that they can help you if they hear something. You may get 5 phone calls that may not turn out to be nothing, but you may get that 6th one that's a big deal. Always listen to your public.
All right, we've got just a couple of questions left. Give you guys a chance to take a deep breath, stretch your shoulders a little bit there. Exactly. All right, here we go. Next question is for Mr. Howard. Keith, have you officially asked Jared Akins to serve as your chief deputy? If so, how did you come to choose Jared? If not, what process will you follow to choose your chief deputy?
Have not asked him to be my chief deputy. I have not asked anybody to do anything. I don't have a clique at the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office got some fine employees. And if they doing their job, when I make sure, they gonna keep their job. Why should I pick who I'm gonna promote? Because to promote, you got to demote. You can't have 40 chiefs running around out there and 2 engines. So you got to keep what's working, working. If it ain't broke, y'all heard that before? If it ain't broke, don't change it. So I'm not gonna change that. Now, there's some people that may not like the way I wanna be the sheriff, and they may say, got the suitcase packed and walking out the door. That's their prerogative. But I'm not gonna run the fight. We're gonna make that sheriff's office that's already better than it is, because it's a good sheriff's department with good employees. We got to stay up with the times, we're gonna move with the future, we're gonna look after the employees. When y'all want a deputy at your house at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you at work in Gulfstream, and your wife's getting broke into, you don't wanna hear no bull crap about he's in Florida, it's gonna take him 45 minutes to get to Illinois. You want a deputy there, and I'm gonna work with the commissioners to get more deputies and to get them on the job, to perform the job y'all want them to perform, that y'all won't respond. And it's a two-edged sword, you say, well, how are you gonna do this without raising taxes? I'm not gonna tell you that the taxes might not have to be raised. Something's got to be done to keep up with it. We got assessment this year where our property values went up. Taxes, millage rate stayed the same, but, y'all was upset about that just like me, but it's growing pains. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Brown, do you have a chief deputy in mind? If not, what process will you utilize to choose your chief deputy?
My plans at the sheriff's office is to keep everybody secure with a job. That's about all I'm gonna say about that tonight. I have not made a promise to Jared Akins, to chief deputy. I have a plan to put people where I want to put them. Most everybody is where they're supposed to be right now. That's a fair statement to make. I want everybody to know that because that's a truthful statement. But everybody's securing their job. I love everybody that works in Bullock County Sheriff's Office. I see many of them here tonight. What they do is what I work in a day's time. From office staff to administration, right on through to our road, our jail, our court services, CST, crime suppression, 711. I'm proud of all of them. Our transport officers, I see a couple of them here tonight. Everybody's securing their job. I think we're too hinged on what's going to happen. But I guarantee you it'll be for the betterment of the county, which I love, and it will be a good sound decision and a slow process. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Brown, last question is for you. What do you think is the biggest misperception in the community about the sheriff's office, and what would you do to help clear up that misperception?
I think one of the biggest ones right now is that we don't return phone calls. I don't know anybody in this room that I haven't returned a phone call to. I look around and see several I talk to on a daily basis. If you elect me your sheriff November 8th in this county, I promise that's one thing that will always be looked at is person-to-person contact and follow up on your cases. Maybe a misconception is that as times have changed and we've grown, is the follow-up's not there. But you know what? We can redirect that in the fact that we tell our people that we need to follow up on cases. You walk in the front door, again, no matter how minute or how major it may be, everything's important. And you want to call back. Or if you call, you want an answer. There's some feedback. I feel like we need to work on that a little bit. That's probably one thing that we do need to work on. We were smaller at one time and probably had a little better chance to get with everybody. I'm not saying I'm a model deputy, but I can guarantee you there's nobody in this room that can't say that I have to call them back if they call me. I am going to answer you. I am going to help you. Again, it's not maybe always going to be the answer you want to hear. But I'm going to speak to you. I've said it many times. Every one of y'all know that I'll do that. I'm not going to run from it. That's the biggest misconception, is returning your phone calls and follow up. That's just not true. And if it is, it'll be brought to the table, we'll correct it, and work on it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Howard, what do you think is the biggest misperception in the community about the sheriff's office, and what would you do to help clear up that misperception?
What I keep hearing about is the jail. Everybody thinks that jail out there is just on the Fortune 500 money making, and it's not. If y'all had any idea what it costs to house an inmate and what the county gets in return from it, the feds give us a lot of money in housing and transport. Around $700,000 a year, I believe it is. It comes back to the county from that. The inmates, telephone, and the inmate food fund, those two things are bid out, and the county gets a percentage back off of it. The county does not set the fee for what it costs for a honeymoon or what it costs for a phone call. I'll look into that and do my best to try to get that, down to a cheaper price as we can. But really and truly, those two things are bid out. Next misconception, I guess, is with the task force, they think they riding around looking for a tag light out and not putting on a seatbelt. That's not true. It's a tool that you use to stop a car, but you don't get a citation every time that they stop you for a tail light out or a tag light out. Those are tools, no different than hunting drunks. When I was on the drug task force with the State Patrol, we used whatever probable cause we could to get in that car. And that's the same thing with the task force. If there's nothing there, then they cut loose and down the road they go. But it's a misconception that they're targeting certain folks. The sheriff's office there is to serve and protect. They're not there to make millions of dollars off of our taxpayer citizens. Thank you.
All right, folks, let's give a round of applause to the candidates for the Before we get to the closing statements, I do want to thank Ogeechee Technical College for co-sponsoring tonight's forum and for allowing us to use their great venue. There's always a great servant to the community, so thank you to OTC. Also want to thank you to the sponsors of tonight's event, Dynamic Solutions and American Roofing, again, for sponsoring this forum. And of course, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and those watching on StatesboroHerald.com. Clearly understand the importance of participating in our democracy and having a say in the decisions that affect our community. Make sure you convince your neighbors to get out there and vote. Speaking of voting, as I mentioned, early voting starts on Monday. That'll be at the county annex up on North Main, a new building up there. And then, of course, the election day is Tuesday, November 8th. So we have 2 minutes, each of y'all, for your closing statements. Noel, we're going to start with you for your closing statements. Go right ahead.
This campaign has definitely been an eye-opener for me and a joy to basically meet a lot of people, shake a lot of hands, make a lot of new friends. I realize a lot of people in this county I've never met before. It's growing every day. I haven't met one yet, and then tell them, I said, look here, still racing that boat November 8th. They said, you know what, Mr. Brown, we'll look into that, check your background, and see what we can do with it. Thank you for coming back. I think one of the greatest things that I mentioned in the very beginning of all this was that personal contact. I share for all people. What I mean by that is I can't be anybody but myself, people. Citizens of Bullitt County. I am who I am. And I'm not going to change. I'll be that same person today as I will be tomorrow. It was stated many times in my campaign about me moving my office. If it's granted and I'm elected sheriff, it will be moved to the front. Most people say, why would you want to do that? Well, I love people. That's going to be a lot of aggravation. If you don't like aggravation, find you something else to do. I don't see how a person can come to work in a day's time and I want to do something. I've served my whole life in the military and now in law enforcement currently. I've been a public servant my entire life. I don't know anything else to do. But I can guarantee you one thing. I'll always be accessible. I'll always be accountable for the great men and women of my office and myself. I will stand beside them, not behind them. That makes it to where we're going to serve you. And if we're serving you, you're going to serve us. And that's a good match. I love you. I thank you. I appreciate you coming out tonight. Want that vote. November 8th, do not forget to vote. Come out and vote. Be safe going home. Have a good night.
Keith, your closing statements.
The sheriff, it's sad that he's got to get up here and say that he's going to be accessible. That should be a no-brainer. A sheriff should be for all the people. That's a no-brainer. Sheriff should support his employees. As a business owner, law enforcement, firefighter, I raised hogs, raised row crops. I'm diversified. Today's sheriff has got to be diversified, especially in a county with the growth that Bullitt County has. You've got to be able to know that those people under you are performing their jobs. You've got to stay on top of things. You can't depend on somebody to look after your office. A business owner that has a general manager hires that general manager with the trust that he's capable of doing that job. The sheriff has to have the people under him that he can trust. Micromanaging, can't stand it. I hire him, you do your job, we ain't got no problems. If it comes to the fact that you're not doing the job, then we got a problem. We got a great group of employees out there. That problem's not going to persist out there. It doesn't exist. Accessibility, straight talk, Verizon, AT&T, Alcatel, I got it. And if they quit, I know where Wendy Walker is. She'll get me back on line. I appreciate y'all coming. I love to be your sheriff. I'm more than qualified for it. I believe in my heart I wouldn't be out here and not trying to get you back. November 8th, Keith Howell. Thank you.
All right, again, let's give a round of applause to the two candidates. I'm going to stick around for a couple minutes and answer your questions. I'm Phil Boyd. Thanks for coming out. Again, thank you to OTC, Dynamic Solutions, American Roofing, and the Statesboro Herald. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Drive safe. Have a good night.